President Donald Trump has just unveiled a sweeping new trade deal with the European Union during a press conference held at his Turnberry resort in Scotland.
Thank you very much. So we have good news. We've reached a deal. It's a good deal for everybody, I believe. And I think you were saying this is probably the biggest deal ever reached in any capacity, trade or beyond trade.
It is.
With cameras flashing and aides surrounding both Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, the two leaders announced what Trump boldly called the biggest deal ever made. This agreement comes just days before a major tariff deadline that could have plunged transatlantic trade into chaos. Initially, Trump had threatened a 30% tariff on European imports, an economic punch that could have shaken EU markets. But with negotiations intensifying behind closed doors, a 15% tariff was settled on. Half the threat, but still 3 times the US average before Trump took office. But the deal isn't just about a number. It's packed with complex carve-outs and industry-specific exceptions. Aircraft parts, semiconductor equipment, certain agricultural products, and generic pharmaceuticals have been granted 0-for-0 tariff terms. But not everything made the exemption list. Products like beef, sugar, and ethanol will still feel the tariff bite. The automotive sector, one of Europe's key exports, is also heavily impacted. European cars and auto parts entering the US will now face a 15% tariff, down from the projected 27.5%, but still a concern for Germany's massive car industry. On steel and aluminum, the existing 50% tariffs will remain in place for now, but talks are ongoing about a future quota-based system. Beyond tariffs, this deal carries some eye-popping promises. The EU has pledged to invest $600 billion directly into the American economy over the course of Trump's term. That includes major infrastructure, tech, and real estate investments. And in a move that has excited US energy markets, Europe has also committed to purchasing over $750 billion worth of American energy and defense goods, including natural gas, oil, and military equipment. Reactions are split deeply. While President Trump framed the deal as a triumphant show of strength, and von der Leyen labeled it a huge deal, not everyone in Europe is celebrating. France's Prime Minister François Bayrou didn't mince words. He called the agreement a dark day for Europe, accusing the bloc of folding under pressure. In contrast, leaders in Germany and Italy expressed cautious optimism, noting the deal avoids immediate economic escalation, but comes with serious long-term risks. Economists across the board are warning that Europe might suffer up to 0.5% slowdown in GDP over the next fiscal year, especially in sectors that lost tariff protection, such as Mediterranean food producers, smaller automakers, and electronics exporters. There's also concern that Trump's style of last-minute pressure and deal-making sets a precedent that undermines traditional multilateral trade negotiations. Markets, however, have responded with cautious enthusiasm. Stocks for American LNG companies like Cheniere Energy jumped after the announcement, anticipating a wave of European orders. Some in the finance world are calling this the Trump doctrine in action: pressure, brinkmanship, and reward. Now, this agreement isn't fully finalized. It still needs to pass through the European Parliament and be ratified by individual EU member states. There's also a long list of unresolved items, like how steel quotas will be defined, what happens with wine and spirits tariffs, and whether EU companies will be guaranteed access to US procurement markets. Outside of Europe, the ripple effects are already being felt. Countries like Canada, Mexico, South Korea, Brazil, and India are now watching closely. Trump has warned that unless they strike similar bilateral deals before August 1st, they may face new tariffs. Analysts are calling it deal or dual diplomacy. Critics of the deal point out one consistent pattern. Trump often issues extreme threats and then announces partial rollbacks as victories. Some have nicknamed it the taco approach. Trump always chickens out. But whether it's retreat or strategy, this method keeps allies and rivals off balance and has clearly redefined America's global trade posture. If you're an auto parts exporter in Germany, you're breathing a sigh of relief, but recalculating your margins. If you're a small wine producer in Spain, you may be wondering if Brussels negotiated away your future. On the American side, energy companies are celebrating, while some labor unions remain skeptical about foreign investment promises. And the bigger picture? This deal might be less about trade and more about geopolitics. The EU just wrote a massive check to secure trade stability, and Trump now has a trophy to show as he campaigns toward re-election. Whether this deal holds, collapses, or evolves into something deeper, only time will tell. As the world waits to see what happens on August 1st, one thing is clear. Global trade is no longer business as usual. Thank you for watching. This is the Continental Brief. Stay informed, stay engaged.